Hello. You just reached MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires. Your patience while holding is appreciated. Our representatives are working hard to get you closer to the guys on top of the pit boxes, over the wall, and on your radio dial. Thank you for holding. You are now being connected to your hosts, Tony Rizzuti and Kit Cruz.
Welcome to MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires. I am Tony Rizzuti, and this is Kid Cruz. Glad to have you with us here this afternoon. Fantastic show for us, for you and for us. Later in the show, we'll talk to one of my all-time favorites, Jack Arute, on the program. We'll talk a little college football, some racing stuff with Jack, a longtime person with the MRN network, one of the key guys when you look at the founding of the Motor Racing Network, and we'll play a fun new version of 5 On 5 Off. But before we do that, it's time to make our first crew call of the day, and we're going to make it over to Stewart-Haas Racing, and Kevin Harvick is the driver of the number 4 Busch Ford. His crew chief is Rodney Childers, and he joins us on the guest line. Hi, Rodney. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Man, we are fantastic, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I know a lot of disappointment last week at New Hampshire when you got turned around and got caught up in the crash. What did you tell the team this week to kind of put that behind them and focus on Dover?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we're pretty fortunate to have had some playoff points going into the season, and also fortunate to have a really good race car at Chicago and to get plenty of points there. And as soon as that wreck happened, I just, the first thing that goes through your head is we're out of it. And, 20 minutes later, you realize you're still 25 points to the good, and you need to just go have a nice, solid weekend this weekend and not have anything crazy happen. And we're fortunate also that that's been one of our best racetracks. So, hopefully we can go up there and be competitive all weekend and have a good car.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that you are 25 points to the good. This is really the first true example of how these playoff points are going to work. Now that you've seen how they've kind of helped you in this case, do you think that's going to change how you would race in the regular season, knowing that if these points go forward to next year as well? If we have the same system?
I think I think everybody has definitely stepped up this year. I didn't feel like anybody was just riding around after they won a race. And, we've been trying to go as hard as we can and get as many playoff points as we could throughout the year. We definitely have had to work hard to try to get our cars better and get them more competitive. But I feel like we've definitely been a little bit better the last few weeks, and hopefully we can keep making them a little bit better as we go.
Rodney, what are you most nervous about going into the race this weekend?
The biggest thing would be a mechanical failure. Something crazy that you don't think would ever happen. Last year we used to have this older chassis that was like our bread and butter, and every time we took it somewhere it really was fast. And we took it there last year because we thought we needed to have our best car there, and it ended up breaking the right side track bar mount off of it. And it's just something that we never really thought about before, and never really had a mileage limit on the chassis side of it. So you just gotta go over everything, make sure that you have everything buttoned up the way that it should be, and some of it comes down to a little luck too, but hopefully we've got everything covered there.
Talking with Rodney Childers, he's the crew chief for the number 4 Ford, driven by Kevin Harvick for Stewart-Haas Racing. Rodney, when you look at most people that are in the sport, they're in it because of a family tie. So I'm in the sport because my dad raced. A lot of people either were dragged to the racetrack, but your family didn't have a racing background. So how did you end up in racing and behind the wheel when you were younger?
I don't know. I was attracted to it from a really young age. Like, all the way down to 3-4 years old, I liked sitting in front of the TV and watching the races on Sundays. And, as that grew into, 8-9 years old, my parents got me a little go-kart to ride in the yard, and then that turned into getting me a racing go-kart, and it just, it was really just a decision on my own to to do that stuff. And I think the more I did it, the more people realized I was pretty good at it and wanted to help me. But there was years that my dad was a car salesman and still is, and he was not able to go to the racetrack with me. So my mom took me to the races for 7 years, the first 7 years of my racing career, and was fortunate enough to have some good people step in and wanted to help and wanted to be a part of it. So it was cool to have to learn that way and to do everything myself, and I think that really helped me throughout my career.
And you like being on the water too, right? Every time your Instagram pops up, at least half the time, it seems like you're out there on the lake on that boat, man. Is that what you're probably dreaming about that right now, but you probably have to wait for about 7 or 8 more weeks.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Mooresville. I grew up on Lake Norman, and it sounds crazy to think about it now, but I got my first wave runner when I was 9 years old. We didn't have cell phones, we didn't have anything, but I used to drive the truck down to the boat ramp, put the wave runner in the water, and ride my wave runner all day from 8 in the morning till 8 at night in the summer. And I was 9 years old out there by myself. And now you think about that, our 2 twin boys are 8 years old, and there's no way I would let them out on the lake by themselves. So, things have changed over the years, but being on the water is something I've loved my whole life. That's one of my favorite things, and learning to surf has been something that I've enjoyed the last couple of years. And when you're surfing behind a surf boat, you can't think about race cars. You can't think about anything but not running into the back of the boat. So it's been a lot of fun and something I really enjoy.
And we could put in a plug, too, for the one you have for sale. Aren't you still trying to get rid of a boat? Somebody buy his boat, please.
I don't know how I got so crazy to end up with 2 of them, but yeah, we've got 2 right now, and one of them really needs to go. So hopefully it'll get going before too long.
This is awesome. Crew Call just became Swap Shop.
Right, why not?
We probably we tripled our audience right there. Hey, Rodney, before we let you go, one final question. Obviously, Dover's been a great track for Kevin and you in the past. You guys won this exact same race back in 2015, but knowing what you need to just advance to the next round, does the strategy change at all? I know Kevin wants to win every race he goes after. Is that still the plan going forward, or are you guys going to race it a little bit differently here?
I think we definitely need to go out there and run hard all we can and be competitive. I think the thing that we want to focus on is to try to get some stage points in those first 2 stages. If you can get, say, 18 stage points before halfway through the race and get your buffer up to close to 40 points, then if something crazy happens at the end of the race and you accidentally get in a wreck with something, you've still got some buffer there. So that's really what we need to focus on. We need to be fast in that first half of the race and then take it from there.
Yeah, good stuff. We'll be looking forward to watching there. I know Kevin loves getting around that place, like a giant Bakersfield for him. So good luck this weekend. Again, appreciate the time. I know it's crunch time for you guys, but thanks for taking a few minutes to talk to us here on MRN.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
There he is, Rodney Childers.
Love it.
Hopefully we sold a boat for him.
Right.
That'll be
nice.
nice.
Do I get a commission? I'll have to tweet him and see if I can get some commission off that.
Yeah, so we all asked, kid, going into this thing, how are the playoff points going to play out? It was always along the lines of Martin Truex as a shoe-in for Miami.
Right.
We weren't sure how it was going to affect somebody who got in trouble, but this is a case where both Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch crashed. Kevin's in a good spot. Kurt's in a bad spot.
Much, yeah.
It's interesting to see how it's played out. All right, we got to take our first break. We come back. We'll do kind of the opening of the show. We'll find out who the crew cut is. We'll say a little funny quote from my man, and we'll talk some racing when we return here on MRN Crew Call.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Hey, Junior Nation, MRN and Wrangler want to send you and a guest to Miami and Ford Championship Weekend to cheer on Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his final Cup Series race.
Enter now at MRN.com for a trip of a lifetime. The grand prize includes travel and hotel accommodations, grandstand tickets for all 3 races, pace car rides, pit passes, and much more.
It's the Salute to Junior Sweepstakes presented by the Wrangler Performance Series. Jeans and pants for less restrictions and more living.
Try on a pair today.
Race fans, visit Camping World of Concord for convenient one-stop shopping on outdoor accessories, top brand RVs, and quality service. Buy an RV and enroll in the Good Sam Elite loyalty program, offering incentives valued at over $2,000. Browse over 10,000 Camping World products and accessories in America's largest RV dealer network. Plus, shop the top manufacturers such as Coleman, Keystone, Newmar, Thor Motor Coach, Winnebago, and many more. America's #1 RV dealer has something for everyone. Visit Camping World of Concord today. See dealer for full details and disclaimers.
Thank you for holding. Now back to MRN Crew Call with Tony and Kid.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks to Rodney Childers for spending some time with us. Some good stuff came out of that conversation.
Yeah.
I am Tony Rizzuti. By the way, I'm joined by a guy who once told Andrew WK, hey man, let's get a party started and we'll party hard, party hard.
That was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. Yeah, that is a true story.
Woo! That guy can
Follow
go
me
at
on
it.
Twitter, and I'll share the rest of the story.
There you go. You can see the Twitter addresses right down there. Join our conversation. By the way, besides following us on Twitter, and at MRN Radio is where you can find us. We ask you to use the hashtag, easy for me to say, AskMRN. The way we set up our Twitter, we get this. If you use that, it like pops right up. It notifies us. So try to use that as much as you can. That way we don't miss anything.
Are you explaining how Twitter works? Is that what you were?
Well, how the
Twitter
hashtag
tutorial.
works. Well, I think most people, it's funny, you talk to people that don't live in the Twitter sphere and they think it's to set up a topic like, this is what I mean, or they use it as their sarcasm.
I hear you.
We use it to find stuff. So a lot of people don't know that. They're surprised when they learn that. Also, we have the Fan Forum hotline. I said that correctly.
Yeah.
1-844-4 Ask MRN. You know who else is number 4?
Who?
Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
Yep. We just talked to his crew chief. That was pretty cool. Fun show today, as we mentioned. Jack Arute, legendary Jack Arute.
Oh, yeah.
The dean of sideline reporters will join us. And we're going to play a little this and that with him. It's still 5 on 5 off, but it'll be a fun little game. Before we get to all that, though.
Is it this and that powered by 5 on 5 off? Isn't that how you're supposed to do it?
Powered by Creekstone.
Oh, powered by Creekstone.
And now I'm hungry. But we'll get to that later as well. Hey, it's time to check out this week's Crew Cut. And tomorrow night they'll be playing in Lansing, Michigan.
Are you going to go?
What's up with our... No, I won't be making that show, but they're in Raleigh in a couple of weeks. I don't think they're doing a Charlotte drive-by, are they?
No.
What's new with Parmalee?
Parmalee, the good old boys from Parmalee, North Carolina.
There you go.
Duh. Yeah, they were at Kansas Speedway earlier this year. Tony, if you were at the race, you may have seen them performing on
that one
the weekend. They have performed, though, in Charlotte. That's what we're talking about. They have performed in Charlotte at Charlotte Motor Speedway before. I believe it was for a Dale Jr. birthday celebration. Isn't that right?
It was. And we got rained out after the third song, so it was kind of like, man, the crowd was ready.
They were ready. It was funny. The rain started coming down, and all the stage hands were saying, get off the stage, and we just weren't going to leave, so we started another song. So they pretty much had to let us finish. We kept it going for as long as we could.
Did you pop over and see Junior at Kansas Speedway? I mean, are you bummed a little bit now that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is winding down his full-time racing career?
Yeah, he is. We got a chance to meet him back in the day, so he's kind of been our dude, I guess. Through mutual friends, know him and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but Tyler Reddick is our label owner's grandson.
That's right.
Benny Brown's grandson. So we'll be in his corner now.
There you go, the boys of Parmalee, Dale Jr. fans and now Tyler Reddick fans. And you might be a fan of their new music, Tony. They have a new album out since they're from Parmalee, North Carolina, and their group is Parmalee. The new album title is 27861.
That's interesting because
that's the zip code.
Their last album, or one of their albums, one that I own, was called Carolina.
Right, and the song feels like Carolina. So now they're using the zip code from the city in North Carolina.
You gotta like these boys represent North Kakalaka.
Yeah.
By the way, Robbie Mays Hayes on the technical directing today. He's from South Kakalaki. Big Gamecocks fan. I don't know if you know that or not.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I heard. I was in his office earlier today looking at papers that he had posted back when the Gamecocks used to win a lot.
Ooh, wow. Hey, Robbie, we'll give some folks a preview of the this or that. Steve Spurrier or Will Muschamp? Spurrier is his answer. That was a pretty easy one. That's kind of how the game's going to go a little bit later. These country artists, it seems like every time you interview one of them, there is a true connection to NASCAR. I mean, there was a time when there wasn't, and I think a lot of people would think with the new bro country and this kind of more poppy feel of country music that maybe there isn't that NASCAR connection, but there still continues to be. It's almost at the root of both sports, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at like the superstars, right? Luke Bryan, Blake Shelton, all those guys are really new. But you're right. Some of the newer guys, maybe they're categorized like the bro country or newer country. A lot of them come from stick and ball sports, and we're introducing NASCAR to them by having them on shows like NASCAR USA, where we have these shows. So when you look at like a Brett Young or a Chris Lane, those guys come from baseball. A lot of college baseball players. So yeah, some of the new guys we need to work hard and educate, But yeah, still strong to the core, man. Country fans are NASCAR fans. NASCAR fans are country fans.
Yeah, one of my favorites to follow on Twitter is Blake Shelton, who you mentioned.
Yep.
He and Elliott Sadler.
Oh, yeah.
Always going on it about different things. Really good stuff. All right, we got to take another break here on MRN Crew Call. When we come back, we'll talk to MRN legend and who I call the dean of sideline reporters, Jack Arute. Jackie's next here on MRN Crew Call.
Smooth out a rough engine, restore power, and improve fuel economy with Seafoam Motor Treatment. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today and purchase 2 bottles of Seafoam Motor Treatment and get one free. Plus, earn double points on this purchase during O Rewards Member Appreciation Month. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Online and on the air, MRN is live from the track on MRN.com and the MRN app. Check out all MRN race broadcasts, pole qualifying and practices, plus exclusive motorsports programming live on your computer or mobile device. Or go to MRN.com to find your local radio station's online stream. Don't miss a second of NASCAR racing action. Listen live online at MRN.com, the MRN app, or your local station.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Keselowski to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to slide up. Newman is there. Sideways is Keselowski.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
I'm sorry, Mr. France isn't available right now. Let me connect you to Tony Rizzuti and Kid Cruz.
Welcome back to the show, Graham. It's who you wanted to talk to anyway, Kid and Tony. Hanging out, having a good time. We talked to Rodney Childers earlier, got a little preview of Dover and their strategy going into that. That's a whole lot of fun. We just met Parmalee from Parmalee, North Carolina.
That's correct.
Representing this great state that we live in here we're in Concord, North Carolina, the kind of the home of NASCAR racing right now, with most of the teams being here. And it's time to bring in our next guest. He's a legend around these parts here at MRN, and he's the dean of sideline reporters. He is the one and only Jack Arute. Jackie, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, but I don't know how I can get my arms around that introduction.
Man,
every dean that I ever encountered was mean, irascible, and always gave me F's. So I'm not sure, but other than that, hey, good to be with you guys.
Let's try that again. This is MRN legend and the cool guy that everybody loved to hang around in college, Jack Arute. Hey,
now that's what I'm talking about.
There you go. Hey, I know I speak for all of us here at MRN, and I think I can speak for all of the NASCAR fans that it is tremendous to have you back on the air with us and calling auto racing. But my question for you is, how does it feel differently, or does it feel differently from any of your previous tours of duty covering NASCAR?
It is different. There's no question about that. The skill set certainly is the same, but one of the things that I noticed, and especially this year, having finally been able to tap into all 3 divisions, it's an entirely different different job description. It's an entirely different mindset, and while the basics remain the same, it was a lot. Let's put it this way: when it was me and Barney Hall and Ken Squire, it was a heck of a lot easier than it is today.
That's a legendary lineup right there, isn't it, folks? Hey, you had a chance when you went and did some other sports, specifically college football. You had a chance to kind of remove yourself from the sport 24/7. And sometimes we talk about, because we live it here at MRN, we maybe see it differently than the fan does. And one of the things that the fan, whether they're an older fan or somebody that's been around the sport a little bit, says is, you know what? They just don't race the way today like they used to in the past. You've now had a chance to come back and see the racing now. You experienced it then. What do you say to those people who say the racing isn't as good now as it was back then?
Well, the racing isn't as good. I don't know how I would answer that. I would say you're using subjective recollection. Is it the same? No, as we say. But I would also say to them, and answer their statement with another statement: nor is football, nor is baseball, nor is any sport. Sports have to evolve, and I think NASCAR specifically, when I was on the outside watching it, enjoying it as a fan, still have the great opportunity to be involved in it here in the Northeast with Stafford Speedway and a lot of other tracks. I applaud the fact that NASCAR, more than they did when I was there immersed in it like you were, trying to react to what the fans' wants and needs are, taking into account what the challenges are that the competitors are dealing with. So I think it's a much more proactive sanctioning body, more proactive sport than it was maybe when we were covering it as a pretty small broadcast operation with the late Harry Howard building us these little specialized boxes to go out in the corner with a push button. Now, I mean, you've got giant trucks, you've got everything else, but the old way has gone the way of the whales out of necessity.
Jack, you've obviously been doing this for decades. We've seen you broadcasting different types of sports, football, and as Tony had mentioned earlier, and auto racing as well. You've worked for just about every darn network. So what was one?
Which I think that means I can't keep a job.
No, well, okay. So the question was like a two-parter you could choose, right? So through your amateur and professional broadcast career, what was like your worst gig ever, or what was the worst way someone let you know that they no longer needed your services?
It's funny. My big break with MRN was both, as Dickens says, the best of times and the worst of times. I had worked as an intern with Roger Bear when they started the network, so I was there, boots in the ground, right from day one. And Bob McGinley, who was a PR director of all places, Dover, Delaware, where you guys are headed, he missed a flight, was ill, and all of a sudden there's an opportunity at the Daytona 500 for me to finally make my MRN radio debut. So needless to say, I didn't sleep much the night before, and I was pretty amped up. And Ken Squire was the anchor. Barney was out in the corners, and they do the big build-up the way we do even to this day. And the race had gotten underway, and there was a caution, like I think 3 laps into the race. And Ken builds it up, and let's go down to the newest member of our broadcast team, hailing from the University of Vermont and Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Here's Jackie Arute. Charlie Glotzback was driving for the Granatellis in the number 99 Dodge. He had pitted, and his windshield had collapsed. He was sponsored by Pylon windshield wipers. So when I got the introduction, I go, "Thanks, Ken. Charlie Glotzback in the Wylon Pinshield." Crap. He's got a busted windshield. And I threw it back up to him. I actually believe that was going to be twice that I appeared on MRN. My first and my last.
Oh, great stuff. Great stories. Always love talking to Jack Arute. All right, Jack. Now, we do a fun thing on this. It's not all serious here, though I don't know that we've been serious at all today. We play a little fun game called 5 on 5 off. We're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to put you on hold, but when we come back, we're going to play kind of a this or that. We just sampled it with Robbie. He's a South Carolina fan. I asked him Spurrier or Muschamp. He obviously went with Spurrier. We're going to do the same type of thing with you. We're going to give you a couple of choices and kind of get your feelings on it. All right, we'll take a commercial.
Can I phone a friend during the break?
Absolutely. You can get anybody on the phone you want to. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll play the game with Jack Arute. It's next.
While the weather may be cooling down, racing season is still heating up. Make the most of it with hot Creekstone Farms offers like 25% off all orders. Creekstone Farms premium Black Angus beef is raised and grazed in the USA, and that means you get the highest quality, finest tasting beef anywhere. At creekstonefarms.com, use promo code MRN25 off to get 25% off your entire purchase. Use promo code MRN25 off at creekstonefarms.com and get 25% off today.
O'Reilly.
Need auto parts? Get them with a click at the new O'ReillyAuto.com. Shop online and we'll ship the order to your home, or you can pick it up for free at the O'Reilly Auto Parts store nearest you. The choice is yours. Shop the way that's convenient for you and get the exact parts you need to get the job done right. O'ReillyAuto.com. Parts for your car wherever you are.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Time now for Motor Racing Network's #1 game show. The game where MRN talent prove their mettle against the unshakable Kid Cruz to see if they've truly earned the right to sit atop the pit box or if they're simply a tool. It's 5 on, 5 off on MRN Crew Call.
All right, getting ready to play a fun this or that version of 5 on, 5 off. Kid and I are going to ask some questions to Jack Arute, but before we do that, fans, we still have a great promotion for you through Creekstone Farms. If you want to save 25% on Creekstone Farms premium Black Angus beef or all natural Duroc pork, then speed over to creekstonefarms.com and use the exclusive promo code MRN25 off to get 25% off your entire purchase. That's MRN25 off at creekstonefarms.com. You see it right there on the screen. Good stuff. Have a nice cookout with the family. Enjoy the nice autumn weather we have coming up. All right, it's time for a little this or that version of 5 on, 5 off. Jack, we're going to start with a food topic: steak or seafood?
Oh, steak.
Very nice.
Hands down. I mean, I've gotten Creekstone Farms before, and let me tell you, there isn't anything better. Give me a thick steak grilled on the barbecue, and I'm good to go.
There you got a sponsor plug too.
I love it.
I
He's
love
a
this
pro.
guy. I know he's a pro.
This isn't my first barbecue, boy.
I know, of course. iPhone or Android?
I got an iPhone and I hate it. So I don't know how to answer that one.
Say flip phone. Back when the flip phones were reliable and cool.
How about if I could ever get a chain to hang a rotary phone around my neck?
That's old school right there. All right, how about a little college football? SEC or ACC?
Until proven otherwise, and I understand Clemson won the national championship, I'm going SEC. Top to bottom, they still are the 6,000-pound gorilla.
And Gamecock Robbie over here with a big smile on his face.
This is probably pretty obvious. Maybe not. I don't know. A day at the racetrack or a day at the beach? Do you enjoy time off?
That's a hard one, guys.
All right.
I've been retired. I mean, I spent almost 50 of my 67 years every day at the racetrack, and we go down to Florida now, and I got a little boat, and I get dressed up in my Bermuda shorts and my knee-high socks, and go to the early bird specials and spend the day on the boat. But after what I did with MRN this year, I'm still opting for the racetrack. We do have an off season where I can enjoy the boat.
By the way, Jack, if you ever need to sell that boat, just let us know, because Kid Cruz has set up a swap shop here on the old program. Let's talk a little muscle cars. You a Camaro guy or a Mustang guy?
I've been Ford all my life.
Ford all your life? Mustang
all my life. My father wouldn't let me buy when I turned 16. In my house, you couldn't buy anything but a Ford. And he reminded me that it was first on race day.
You made a little game show reference going into the commercial break there, right? Wanting to phone a friend, so I'll ask you a game show question. Drew Carey or Bob Barker? if you're a Price is Right fan.
I used to like Bob Barker till he wanted to neuter all the animals.
There you go. Hey, young NASCAR driver, Chase Elliott or Eric Jones?
Yeah, it's because I knew Bill, and I know the untold pressures that Chase is under and the way that he's handled them. This is nothing against Eric, but I like what I see. He may not be awesome Bill from Dawsonville, but he sure has got a lot of that DNA in him.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Both great young talents and do very successful.
Let's go with a current NASCAR topic. Post-race burnout or no post-race burnout? Should it be allowed?
I think they ought to allow celebration and as much celebration as possible. I mean, to win one of these races is such a major accomplishment. Why do you want to put your foot on their throat and have them not do it? You get the post-race burnout, and it balances out the endless sponsor plugs in Victory Lane.
I know you've had a chance to work with some of the best, so I've got to ask you, if we're talking announcers, Keith Jackson or Brent Musburger?
Hands down, Keith Jackson. By golly.
Jackson.
Yep. And that's nothing against the Brentster, but I mean, Keith Jackson did it when he had to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. And you go back in the archives, I don't care if it was wrist wrestling from Petaluma or the Daytona 500 or college football. And the great line is, here come the Alabama Crimson Tide, and by golly, there's a lot of them.
I'll tell you what, Jack, we were talking about this earlier. Thanks for playing the game. That was a lot of fun. But as I mentioned, like, Dean may not be the right word, but there weren't really true sideline reporters until you became one that did what you did, that took fans and gave them interesting nuggets from the sideline and perspective. It wasn't just about, well, this guy's hurt and he's coming back. Like, you've turned it into a true part of the broadcast. When you now see how it's expanded, you can't have an event without some sideline reporter doing what you basically invented. Do you take a lot of pride in that, and are you happy to see it grow?
I take a lot of pride in it, quite frankly, because of where it was born and bred. And that was on the pit lanes of America, covering pit road. Remember, I did 47 years of the Indianapolis 500, did numerous NASCAR races. And, that was one of our missions is when we founded MRN. It wasn't just to be the portal where people could get in real time what was going on in the racetrack, but it was the opportunity. And I told this story on the passing of my friend Barney Hall, our friend Barney Hall. Barney used to spend days in the pit area collecting the thoughts and the feelings of crew chiefs and drivers, and then we would intersperse them into the broadcast. And that allowed you, because unlike a lot of sports, these drivers, I mean, they're encased in a steel cocoon, so you really don't. It takes a while for you to gain an affinity for them. Storytelling is a lost art in the broadcast industry. With all due respect, 2 turns a wedge and a full tank of Sunoco fuel, that doesn't tell me jack about the experience that the driver's having.
Well, Jack, as a former pit reporter, I guess I still am occasionally, but it's not my main job anymore. But for somebody who got into the sport via the role on pit road, we offer you thanks. We appreciate what you do. Hopefully we'll hear more of you on MRN, because I know the fan feedback has been tremendous, and I know the guys love working with you. And we appreciate you taking the time and sharing some stories with us on the program. Let's do it again soon. Sound like a plan?
You got it. Anytime. And just tell those knuckleheads that them leaving me a walker in my locker, I didn't think it was funny.
Great stuff from Jack Arute. Take care, Jackie.
Take care, guys.
What a program, man.
That's awesome.
We threw one together again, and great insight today.
Yeah, it was fun. A lot of fun. A little out of order, but a lot of fun.
Thanks to Rodney Childers. Thanks to Parmalee. Thanks to Jack Arute. Most importantly, thank you. We'll see you next time on MRN Crew Call.
You've been listening to MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Wednesday at noon on MRN.com or on the MRN app. MRN Crew Call is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. MRN Crew Call is a production of the Motor Racing Network. Goodbye.